Hey guys, welcome to the Gig Economy Podcast bonus. We are just killing it with the interviews and enjoying every single one of them. Today we have Steven Nielsen from Londr. What's Londr? It is a laundry service, and you can sign up to be a washer, or you can sign up to get your laundry done. They're a small startup out of Idaho, and but they are going to go nationwide real soon, and you can get it done now. If you sign up to be a washer and a wash becomes available, you could be one of the first in Grand Rapids or anywhere you're listening to this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to us and supporting us. We really enjoy doing these interviews, and enjoy the interview.
Well, let me ask you real quick, Steven. It sounds like there's a U in the name. Why is there no U in the name?
I don't have a good reason for that, honestly.
Okay.
LONDR, the domain was available, and it seemed like, all these tech companies want to shorten their name, take out all the vowels or whatever.
Sure. No, so I get it.
We thought we'd follow that trend.
Well, I like it for two reasons, right? Londr sounds better, but it's also, you differentiate yourself from Londr.
Sure, yeah.
So I like that. Now, I mean, yeah.
We interviewed a new rideshare out of Detroit, and they named themselves Zoom Ride. Well, what other product right now is the most popular since COVID is Zoom, video conferencing. I got in an argument with a guy on Facebook about it, and he's like, no, well, there was another company in California that named themselves Zoom. So I don't know why the other guys did.
They've been doing it for 3 years, so they have it.
I know. So this guy's like, oh, you guys are just... So I don't know if you ever heard of Trip, but they actually have a subscription model where you actually pay in to be part of their company. So it's very scammy. But he's like, no, this is that company. I'm like, no, it's not. I swear. Like, here's the link. And then some lady posted, they're doing great. Look at their stock numbers. And it was Zoom's stock number from the video conferencing. I'm like, ah. So yes.
I bet he wished he was Zoom video.
Yeah. So branding is important. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how you started this company and why you started it, and if you have any other experience in the gig economy?
Yeah, you bet. My main other experience was with Airbnb. As I said, I'm in Boise, and my wife and I were going to be traveling down to Utah quite a lot. And we have 5 kids. Mm. And so we thought, hey, for all of those weekends that we're going to be gone, why don't we leverage the house, set up the Airbnb? And it was a terrible idea, at least for us. It was a big mistake. And the reason is we'd get back and we'd have all the Airbnb linens to throw in the washing machine. We'd have like all of our little kid clothes to throw in the washing machine. And we found ourselves doing nothing but laundry Monday through Friday, and then doing an Airbnb over the weekend. Oh, and then back to laundry again. So life got kind of hard, and we thought, man, we just need some help. We need to look around and see if someone can help us with the laundry. And the laundromats, there aren't a lot of laundromats right around us. Like, it would be a 20-minute drive out to the laundromat. And so I just thought, we need someone who can like pick it up, wash it, deliver it back to us. And there wasn't really anything like that. And so I started thinking, man, we need that. And that's where the idea for Londr was born.
Okay. Nice. So as far as just Airbnb, you haven't been a rideshare driver. Well, there's got to be rideshare in Boise with 500,000, but.
Yeah, I did sign up. I signed up for Postmates and DoorDash, and I've gone out and I've done those as an empathy exercise, to be like, hey, if I'm going to ask people to do this, I need to do it too, So I spent about a week doing both of those with limited success, honestly.
Yeah.
I had a hard time.
There's a skill with all of that. We tell people you can't just throw the app on and expect to, make $30 an hour. You gotta go out at the right times. You got to do some research. It's not easy peasy. But I do appreciate that you went out and suffered a little bit. We always tell people, if you're a gig economist, like, do it, be a customer of that app, so you know how it feels and how it looks and how the app looks inside. So if a customer has a question or a rider, you're like, oh, I know this. I've done this before.
It's the only way you can answer all those questions.
Right.
I mean, definitely. So
Absolutely.
So now, of course, Steven, now you tip every time you use the services, right?
I do, actually. Yeah. That was the big thing with DoorDash back when, I don't know if it's still an issue, but back when there used to be an issue with like, do the Dashers get the tips and all that, is I'm like, yeah, give them cash every time at the door. Like, let's make sure they.
Yeah, it's still kind of questionable. Times have changed so much. When we started this podcast, it was Uber and Lyft. And now it's like, we can't even keep up with it all. I mean, I have every app installed. I dabble in all of them. But it's like, man, everything's changing. I'm like, all right, which company's pissing the workers off? Who's not paying the tips? Who's scamming? Like, it's just frustrating.
Well, and I think the big thing that we kind of speak is that you should have more than one bucket. You should have more than one gig so that you don't, if something happens with one of them, you can still get the necessary income you need to do if you're doing it full time using one of the other services. And what's so exciting about that, Stephen, is I think Londr. Did I say that? Londr? Londr.
It's Londr. I was saying it wrong. I was saying Londr. It's Londr.
Londr fits that model pretty well. It fits one of those. It can be yet another bucket. If there's for the full-time gig workers out there, this can be another bucket. So that's kind of cool. Tell us a little bit about the fee structure. So from your website, it's $39 for a gig, right? For if I wanna, or for a bag, if I want to give you a bag, I'm gonna pay you $39. Out of that, how much does the worker get paid? What do you take? That kind of stuff. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So the worker would get $32. We call them the washer.
The washer. Yep. No.
They'll get $32, and then of course, we have to pay some transfer fees and different fees that we take care of. So we deal with all that. And so we end up with about $4 out of the deal, all said and done.
What?
Yeah,
we were way off, Jesper.
Well, it's good. It's good for us to know though, because I mean, we're just used to, the big giants of Lyft and Uber, and they take 50%,
if not more.
Right. So that's that. Now, out of the $32, do the washers have to pay for the detergent and all those things themselves? And if so, do they become business expenses?
Sure. They do pay for those things themselves, but if you look at it, I've done the math, I've done the washing myself.
Yep.
By the time you figure water, electricity for the washer and dryer, the detergent, maybe you're doing some dryer sheets, whatever, their expenses are going to be about $3.50 to $5 if they have to drive a little further. Like,
for a bag.
Their expenses out of that aren't very large.
Okay.
Yeah, per bag. So,
but how much of that? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that marginal cost decreases then if you have a job that's, say, 3 bags, then it'd be even less per bag, because really the drive time adds a lot to that cost.
Well, that makes sense. So, out of the $3 to $5, how much of that is actually then considered or can be considered a business expense? I mean, you can deduct the miles, right? That's easy. But what about the rest?
I would say, the detergent, it'd be pretty hard to chop up your water bill and say, this much of my water bill is for what I've done for Londr. But I think, the miles and the detergent is really all the expenses that you would incur there.
If you claim home office, though.
That's tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's tough to do as a 1099. I asked my accountant about that, and I asked about all this, and he's like, it's tough, and you really got to be detailed on it. I was like, yeah, I don't have time for that. Like, but it's really tough to do that as a 1099, I guess.
No, and I get that. So you brought up, how many bags is in a job. What's your average? How is it average 1 bag per job, or is it more like 3 to 4 bags per job?
Usually it averages 1.7 bags a job.
Okay.
All right.
Since we're talking averages. So we do have some bigger jobs. But most people, it's the 1 bag.
And it's $32 per bag.
39.
That's right.
No. The washer gets $32 a bag.
I apologize.
So now all of a sudden, now if it's 2 bags, now I'm gonna net $64. That's not too bad.
Oh, so basically what you're saying, because I noticed that you can't have multiple orders, which I totally agree. Right now, it's probably not a good idea to have 2 different people, but you get $32 per bag. So if one customer has 3 bags, you're getting $32 for each of those bags?
That's right.
Holy crap.
Now, if you now turn that around and we say, let me take those bags and go to a coin laundry, a laundromat with that. Now it's then I get my receipt with me. It's all expensible.
Ooh,
That's exactly right.
that's a good
And the
point.
great thing about that is your dollar per hour rate. You know, if you have 8 washing machines going with these 3 bags of laundry,
I know.
you're going to be done in 45 minutes, and you just made $96
And bring
in 45 minutes.
I know, and bring yourself a Wi-Fi laptop with you and watch Netflix while they're running. I mean, who cares, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And this is something that, you know, I think about the single mom who like has to watch kids. And, you know, if you're trying to like put someone in your car, you can't do that with kids in tow.
Right.
But if you're just picking up some laundry, throwing it in the washing machine, you have 45 minutes while the washing machine is running to still interact with your kids, take care of your family, do your chores, do another gig, whatever you need to do during that time that the machine is running.
Yep. No, it's
So the question I have, and you being from a more, what am I trying to say? You're not in California. So to them, California, $39 a bag for laundry is like, whatever. But Grand Rapids, I mean, I looked at that price and goes, ooh, man, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to spend that. What kind of feedback are you getting from people saying that maybe that's too expensive for a service? I get the time you're saving. I saw that on your website, but do you have like a 30-second elevator speech where you're like, well,
I think it's fair to say that it's a premium product. That said, our bags are huge. It's a 40-gallon bag. If you're a single person, that's your entire week's worth of laundry right there.
Yeah.
If you're a family of 4, that's probably 2 bags in a week. So that starts to get a little pricier. The thing that I've noticed with Londr is that it's a great tool for somebody in a bind. Your water line breaks, you have a new baby, you have surgery, something like that happens. Londr might not be your day-to-day, week-to-week way to do laundry, but it's there whenever you need it. I would even say, for the every person, maybe you don't use Londr every week, but who of us doesn't get behind from time to time?
Yep.
And when you get behind, Londr swoops in, takes care of it that one week, and then you're back on track.
It would be amazing, like you go on a vacation.
Yep.
I mean, nothing worse than coming back, like just like you said at the beginning, is like dealing. Well, 5 kids, good Lord. You know, I mean, I have 3 kids. One's out of the house, but 2 of them in us is enough. But I do think about how great that would be. Like, you know, get back on Sunday and have that bag out there Monday morning, and you know, by Monday night you come home and it's all good.
Well, and why not make that part of your vacation expense, right? You just spent $100+ to sleep in a bed at a hotel.
right.
Just tack a little laundry on. Also, if you're at the hotel, we're young as a company right now, but when we expand, say people go to soccer camp or something like that, day 2 or 3 of soccer camp, the room starts smelling kind of funky. Call up Londr and have them pick up the bag from the front desk. It's way cheaper than a hotel laundry.
So that brings up another good question. What is the average turnaround on this?
We require our washers to have the job back within 24 hours.
Okay.
That said, I put a bag out yesterday. I used the service myself and got it back within 6 hours.
And so how do you get it back? Is it all folded and nicely just ready to put away, or?
Exactly like that. Yep.
Well, how do you fold all that laundry and put it back in that bag? Or does the washer, you know, have a couple of baskets that they say, hey, here they are, can I get them back later? Or how does that work?
So the bag that you send your laundry out in, we recommend that they wash the bag along with the clothes.
Okay.
So then the clothes come out. We recommend our washers use like a hard flat surface like the kitchen table. You know, I know a lot of us fold on the couch, but we say washers don't do that. Use a hard flat surface and then just pack everything back in there real nice and tight.
Well, when you come into Grand Rapids, I know when I don't know if I was emailing your wife or I don't know if this wife, you and your wife are in it or somebody, but they're like, oh, because I'm always trying to sell sponsorships, and you're like, oh, we're gonna stay out west, and I'm like, well, California is our second biggest market, so I'm just letting you know. but when I look on your website, I say wherever a washer is or wherever a job is, you'd be willing to do it. So can you talk a little bit more about expansion?
Yes, we intend to be nationwide as quickly as we can get there. I'm a software guy. That's my background. I
Okay.
think you talked to Vanessa, who was doing a little bit of marketing for us. The way that I've built this product is, a lot of software products, you get a team of developers, they go underground for like a year, you don't hear anything, and then the app comes out and it either succeeds or it fails, and that's how it goes.
Oh yeah.
I have a little bit different approach where I say, hey, let's get the smallest thing out there. So we started this whole thing with, it was a text messaging service. Like you send us a text and we'll text all the washers in the area. And it was just like with text messages. And then we matured that a little bit to where we are now, where we have a web app. Everything is through the website, right? You go to the website, you log in, and we still send notifications via text, but everything's in the website. I was working with one of my developers this week. We're going to have an app out on the App Store within the next couple of weeks.
Oh,
And
nice.
once we are in the App Store, then we're going to go nationwide as big as we can. We're going to start sharing like crazy. We're going to get loud. For now, we've stayed a little small just because the product is still very much in development, but pretty soon we're going to be out there.
And that does make sense. I mean, as soon as you can get an app, I mean, people are like, they're going to see it and they're going to download it. It's so much easier. We're such an app-based, society now. Like even Oil Uber,
Right.
same thing. They are a web interface. They do not have an app yet. And
Well,
it works, but,
there's a totally different set of rules when it comes to app development and kind of getting it out into the app stores and stuff. I'm the software developer myself as well, Steven. So know a little bit about those things. So that's cool. You have it ready and it's going to be out there. That's pretty cool.
let's talk a little bit about the washer profile. So I have a dog. So I wonder if that would be a concern. Now, my dog doesn't shed. It's a non-shedding dog. But, I mean, still, dogs are, they can be a pain in the ass sometimes. He's a little 16-pound little fury, you know what I mean? So how does that work? Does the washer have a profile that says, non-smoking home, does have a pet, those kind of things?
We're getting there.
Okay.
The short answer is we're getting there. The longer answer is I'd like to expand the washer profile. Yeah, things with pets, non-smoking. Some people need like fragrance and dye-free detergent.
Yep.
And, we want to make sure that things are customized to people's needs. Laundry is a very emotional product. It involves a lot of trust.
Oh.
And the more that people can trust and know who their washer is, we have the ability right now for a customer to be able to say, hey, this is my favorite washer.
Excellent.
And to also say, hey, I'm going to block this person and never use them again as well.
I like
if
that.
they're a bad actor.
Yeah.
And of course we have ratings like all these apps do too. But what I love about the favorite washer thing is that if, say you're a person that, you want to make Londr your deal, you want to make this your main thing, not just like once a weekend, but all the time. You can go out there, you can provide a great service, and you can tell your customers, hey, mark me as a favorite and use me every time. Well, pretty soon you've built an actual business. It's not random anymore. It's recurring and it's coming to you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
So speaking of like customers, is there a tipping option?
There is.
Oh, okay. Do you know I'm sure you have the stats on this because you're a software guy, and why wouldn't you? Do you know the average number of people that tip per order?
I think it's about a third of all our orders you'll have tips on.
Oh, interesting. I thought it would be a little bit more, being a more premium service, but
I think you touched on a little bit with the price, right? So the price is a little on the higher end for some people, anyways.
And honestly, like I said, I was fully expecting, so like the Shipped platform, you might make like $12 on a shop, right? Or $13, and then if you don't get a tip, like, man, you almost lost money. I mean, you pretty much did, unless you have multiple shops going on. But when you told me $32, I'm like, okay, now it's not so crucial if you don't get a tip, because, I mean, that's not bad for driving 5 miles, picking up a bag, bringing it home to watch Netflix while you're...
And realistically, if there's 2 bags, you probably don't...
That's true.
You probably don't actually work on it for more than at least an hour, at maximum an hour.
Yeah.
The rest is dead time, right? And so now I'm making $64 for that. Now it's not that bad. I mean, we used to say when we are driving... So both Jason and I, Jason is a full-time driver in the wintertime, and I used to be just a weekend warrior, we called it. And the Friday, Saturday, I could make $35 an hour, $40 an hour, right? And that was pretty good. I mean, here the opportunities are pretty, at least the same as that. It feels like.
Well, yeah, but you're not even, the expenses are very minimal. I mean,
Right.
once you buy your soap, I mean, it's not like the soap it does go away, but you buy it for the one job, it's probably going to last you all week. I mean,
So let me ask you the question, Stephen, that I always ask new gig platforms. What about insurance? Is it a thing? Is it necessary? What happens if, hey, I want you to wash my $512 Levi jeans, whatever, and you broke them, tore them, or whatever? What happened? Right? I mean,
Right. So I'm glad you asked about that. We have a comprehensive insurance policy. It's going to cover the customers. It's going to cover the washers. It's going to cover your equipment. Insurance is taken care of. We got you.
that is awesome. That is right there. That's something. Not everybody has that answer. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's something that we thought of right away. Just because I'm worried about those $512 jeans, right? I don't, I don't want to leave somebody on the hook for hundreds of dollars when they thought they were going to make $30.
Right.
so you
that's
said
important.
you said equipment. You mean that covers like if it breaks while your washer breaks while you're washing a load for Londr?
Yep. If your dryer burns down your house or something, we got you covered.
Damn.
So how? Okay, so now I have to ask the other side of that question. What happened? How do you know that it was a laundry that was in the machine and not somebody else's, and they're taking advantage of you?
It's called investigation, man. Like,
No, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that'd definitely be case by case. And certainly, we've had a few issues already. I had 3 Londr jobs happen while I've been talking to you guys so far.
oh wow.
We have stuff happen from time to time where, someone will forget socks or something will happen. And when things like that happen, we generally say, well, hey, work it out as people. I think it kind of follows the Airbnb model of, hey, you work it out with your washer. And then we have all the communication go through us so we can kind of follow along and see if the washers are taking care of people and vice versa.
Good.
And so we can help moderate that discussion if we need to.
Well, you made Jesper happy because, man, he loves talking about insurance. If you have an app and you don't have insurance, you get the stink eye from Jesper. So
it's not, and I'm not even in insurance or anything like that.
No,
But
you're
it's
not.
But it's just one of those things. I mean, when you said protecting both the washer and the other side of it, the client, like that right there, I think that's the recipe for success. It means you're thinking about all the sides right off the bat. You're not just trying to see if the model will stick.
Right. At the end of the day, we exist to serve people. I think a lot of these, not to talk bad about like other companies in the gig economy, but I think a lot of gig companies, they're hiring the humans right now to replace them with self-driving cars in 4 years if they can develop the technology fast enough, right?
right.
Yep.
But I'm looking at laundry and I'm like, hey, there's not going to be a laundry robot anytime soon.
Nope.
And so we're going to need people and we're going to need them for the long term. I think if you're a Londr customer, even if you're financially well off, you might be somebody in my position who has 5 kids. And at that rate, you're a little bit vulnerable. I think if you're a customer and you're sending your laundry out, you're a little bit vulnerable. And on the opposite side of the coin, if you're a washer and you're trying to get some extra money, like I don't know your life or your motivations, but you're probably a little bit vulnerable too. And I think our purpose as a company is to try to serve both sides of that equation and to help people out.
That's great. That's a great.
Makes sense.
I thought for a minute we were on Threads. Talked about vulnerability. Like my other podcast is we talk about uncomfortable conversations and mental health and all that. So when I hear vulnerability on a gig podcast, I'm like, wow, look at this guy. He's in touch with all that stuff too.
He has a superhero wife. We know what it's about.
True story there.
Five kids. I have lots of respect for both you and your wife right there. So, do you guys know what's in the bag at any given time?
We don't.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's no way of doing that, right? I mean, that's the honor principle right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you think about it, there's trust throughout the gig economy. I mean,
absolutely.
A rideshare driver, they're getting in with strangers, so you always have to have that little bit of trust. And yeah, are people going to screw you over? Of course, that's just part of life.
But that's where the rating system steps into, right? I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I have to ask, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we got a job come through yesterday. I'm monitoring the conversation. Somebody left $121 cash in their pocket.
Oh,
And the washer pulls it out, takes a picture of it. Hey, I found this in your pocket. I'm going to put it in an envelope in the top of the bag.
Yep.
And just like took care of it. And that right there, I'm going to recommend everybody in the world to that washer.
yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so true. I got what I was going to say is like I am so our last two interviews, the last one they were like a nonprofit. I'm like, I've never heard of this. It's a gig app that's nonprofit. They're just there to help the community. So I was floored by that. And what I'm also floored about is how little you're taking as profit. Down the road, how is that sustainable? I'm assuming you got maybe some investor money now, and I could be wrong. I'm just speculating. You can clarify, but I just wonder down the road how sustainable is that for like research and development, and other than like if you explode.
What platform costs?
Yeah.
Right. So all of our costs are taken care of in the price of the job. You know, that $7 that we take out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
All of our costs are covered there. It really is about volume. Right now, we do
Okay.
have an excellent investor who's taking care of us. We don't have to hit very much volume, actually, to make this a really profitable thing for us.
Oh, that's good to hear.
You know, certainly down the road, if we have to adjust things a little, I suppose we could adjust things a little. But I, again, really feel that this needs to be a good opportunity for the washer. And
Yeah.
so if we, take a couple bucks off the top, maybe that'll happen. But I really don't see us taking much more than that. We're here to obviously make money.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I was
But
shocked
not
at the last interview. He's like, I just want to cover my expenses. It's all good. I'm like, what? Like,
But I'm hoping to make it up in volume. I think that's why you build software in the first place. The whole thing's about volume.
okay, cool.
Yep.
Do you got any other questions for?
No, you mentioned the app was going to be in the store in a couple of weeks. Do you have a set date on that? Or are you still working on getting it in there?
No, that's how software is, right? Like, if I gave you a deadline, I'd be telling you a lie.
I know. Like, why'd you even ask that? You know that.
Well, but I wanted to put him on the spot here.
Jesper's having a week. It's the end of the month, and the last week of the month. I don't hear from him. Like when the podcast falls in the last week, I'm like, oh boy, because he's like cramming to get that done by the end of the month.
That's funny. Yeah, and I should clarify, we'll have the customer app out in the next couple of weeks. The washer app is going to follow on a little bit later, so we're going to have our washers still using the website for a while, but it'll get there.
And that makes total sense. I mean, you're still going to use the same notification system you use today, which is just SMS, right? So yeah.
And honestly, the customer app is more important right now than the washer app. You got to get the name out to get the business.
Yep.
So
That's it.
I'd love to try one. I did sign up for something last night. You probably saw my information come through. I played around with some. I think I signed up as a customer, and then maybe I signed up as a washer. I don't know. I was a little confused, and it could be me. That's okay. I was just dinking around. I'm not saying anything about your site or anything, but
I'm convinced it was Jason Stevens.
Yeah, it was probably operator error.
I wouldn't change your user interface on him.
I would love to try this. I just don't know if I can. I'll start sharing it a little bit on my personal one, just to kind of wet the whistle of my Facebook friends, just to kind of see.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And I'll honestly, how we're working right now, if I saw your sign up come through, the way I've been doing it so far is like hopping on the classifieds pages in whatever area I see people, like hopping on Craigslist and being like, hey, there's a new job, new gig platform in town.
Look at you.
And that's been a good way for us to spread it. So now that I know that you're out there, I'm going to find some people in your area around you and get something going.
I was going to say there's lots of people who can afford it up here.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. Have you ever heard of Amway?
Yep.
Amway is from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So there's lots of money up here. So.
Well, it's twofold. It's Holland, which is all the Dutch, so they're cheap. But then, you got the Amways on the east side of the city that are really rich. But yeah, I mean, this is perfect opportunity if it could start here. My last day of work is Friday. I do lawn fertilization. Of course, it's cold here now, so we're wrapping up the season. And I do gig work all winter. And I tell you, I'm not super comfortable taking passengers right now. COVID's kind of spiking in Grand Rapids a little bit. So I would love another gig to add.
Well, and to that point, Londr is totally COVID safe.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's non-contact. You're just washing clothes. It's great that way.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I know I didn't introduce you at the beginning, but I'll do a little intro by myself when we release it. So just to let you know, we have a Patreon service where people support us. So this is going to go to there first. In about a month, it'll come out to the public. So you won't see it right away, but I definitely will share the actual service on my page. But you won't see it really come across our business page for about a month. So we let them, they pay us money. So we let them get the interviews and find out about the gigs first and try to sign up first and all that stuff. And then we release it to the regular audience.
And if something happens, you come to us in 2 weeks and say, now you're launching in Grand Rapids already. Well, then we might put it out.
Yeah, we might bump it up just a smidge. Just
well,
FYI.
I'm going to look at that, actually. Yeah, I'm going to look into that.
Yeah. So, well, we really appreciate the time. And maybe down the road we can work together. But, yeah, if you ever want to watch the show, we're on 9 p.m. every other Wednesday Eastern time.
We'll be on tonight.
And sometimes it's not safe for work as far as language, so just a heads up. I mean, I try not to say the F word, but
put those 5 children to bed.
Yeah. So.
Well, guys, the pleasure's all mine. I really appreciate it. It's been a fun time.
All right, Stephen. Have a good night.